Alright, what's up, guys? This is my UFC 172 predictions. I think it's a stacked card, bunch of big name fighters, some really good matchups as well. Um, I guess let's I guess we'll start with I'm gonna do the three main fights: the Luke Rockhold, Tim Boetsch, the 185 middleweight title contender bout. Both top 10 fighters. I think Luke Rockhold's minus 800 at Vegas. I think that's a little ridiculous. Boetsch is plus 500. I don't think this is an 8-1 favorite differential kind of fight. I think Boetsch has beat top level guys. Boetsch has knockout power, where I think that knockout power alone should not make Rockhold at minus 800, 8-1. It's a little crazy. I might lay a little money on Boach just for the sake of the number. But I do think Rockhold will pick him apart, will keep his distance. I don't know if Rockhold will finish him, but Rockhold will probably win a 3-round decision. But like I said, I think Boach has the ability to finish him. I don't think Rockhold's kicks will. Boach has the that thick body where I don't think Rockhold's kicks will finish him like he did Philippou. But I am gonna go Rockhold wins that fight. I'll go Rockhold decision. The co-main event is what is the co-main event? I'm drawing a blank. We got John Jones, Glover Teixeira. Oh, Phil Davis, Anthony Johnson. The big 205 fight. Phil Davis is probably the next title contender behind Gustafsson. Anthony Johnson, he's won about I think 6 fights in a row. Used to fight at 170 in the UFC. Now he's up to 205, which is kind of crazy. I don't know if there's been any UFC fighter to ever jump 2 weight classes up in weight. But I'm surprised that the Vegas line is so small. Phil Davis is minus 220. Anthony Johnson, I think, is plus 180. I would think that would be like a minus 400, to be honest, unless there's something that I'm missing. Anthony Johnson, he has a knockout chance, but I think Phil Davis will, if in trouble, will just resort to his wrestling. I wouldn't be. I'm gonna go Phil Davis by submission. I think Phil Davis submits him. I'm gonna say in the second round. I think if Phil Davis is an impressive fight, I would like to see him jump frog Gustafsson. I don't really care to see Gustafsson. John Jones too. I think the first fight with Jones Gustafsson, I wasn't as impressed as everyone else. I think Gustafsson was throwing soft punches. Jones was just walking through him. Joe Rogan was hyping it up on the commentary and making it seem like it was a lot closer fight than it really was. For some reason, John Jones wasn't exploding that often, but when he did explode, he beat him up. He beat Gustafsson up. But the point is, I'd like to see. I think Phil Davis has a lot better chance at beating Jones than Gustafsson, just for the wrestling and athleticism alone. I like Phil Davis. I also would much rather see if Phil Davis wins. Why not Phil Davis versus Alexander Gustafsson for a #1 contender match? That makes a lot more sense to me. But either way, I like Phil Davis. I like that line, minus 220. I'm going Phil Davis over submission over Anthony Johnson. And then I guess I would set up Phil Davis versus, maybe they'll do Phil Davis versus the winner of, if they are doing Gustafsson for sure, takes on the winner of Teixeira John Jones. Then let's do Phil Davis versus the winner of Daniel Cormier and Dan Henderson. I think that'd be fun. I think Cormier's gonna win that fight against Henderson, but Cormier Phil Davis would be fun. I like to see Cormier versus Gustafsson. But it looks like it's going to be Phil Davis. If he wins, maybe Phil Davis, Cormier, and then Gustafsson, maybe a rematch versus Jones. But anyway, so I'm going Davis submission over Anthony Johnson. The main event, John Jones, 205 champion, versus Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira's won 20 fights in a row, which is impressive. He has knockout power, which is dangerous. He's a big, strong 205er. The thing with me with Glover Teixeira is, why didn't they have Glover fight a big, like one of these young contenders? His best wins are Ryan Bader and Rampage Jackson. Ryan Bader's lost to every big contender. Yes, I think he's a top 10 guy, but he's never gonna get in the top 5. He can't beat any of the top 5 guys. And then Rampage, we know Rampage has been on the decline for the last couple of years. I would have liked to see Teixeira versus Gustafsson, Teixeira versus Phil Davis, Teixeira versus Cormier, even Teixeira versus Hendo or Shogun. You know what I'm saying? Why didn't he fight any of these guys? Sorry, my girlfriend's cooking in the background, making a lot of noise. But anyway, But anyway, that being the case, Teixeira's here. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a title shot. I just would have liked to see him beat a Phil Davis or a Gustafsson or a Cormier or a Hendo or a Shogun. But he beat Bader and Rampage. Good job. But Jones is gonna win this fight. I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes it. I'm gonna go Jones finishes it. I'm thinking he finishes in the second round as well. I think he's a freak. I think people are forgetting. I think he caught Jones on a bad night. Gustafsson stuck around with him. He still lost. I think Jones is going to come out and finish Teixeira just like he did Machida, just like he did Shogun, just like he did Rashad, just like he did Rampage. He's going to finish Teixeira. Jones remains the champion. I guess he's going to fight Gustafsson after that. I don't really care to see that fight. Much rather see. I want to see Jones. I want to see New Blood. I want to see Phil Davis. I want to see Daniel Cormier. Shit, Dan Henderson for all I care. But yeah, I'm gonna go Jones. TKO second round. Phil Davis submission second round, and I'm going Luke Rockhold over Boach by decision. I'm also interested for the Andre Fili Max Holloway fight. Fili's won 13 in a row, I believe. I think he hasn't lost since his first fight. Trains with Team Alpha Male. I love Max Holloway though, and Max Holloway's a slight dog. I'm going Holloway. I love that kid. He's a fucking warrior. I'm going Holloway. I like Jim Miller. I wish that Jim Miller Bobby Green fight would have happened. That would have been a nice matchup. But I like Jim Miller over the new guy Yancey. I think Jim Miller's going to win that fight. What are the undercard? Takanori Gomi fights Valley Flag. It's a close fight, but I think I'm going to go with Gomi. But I don't know. Valley Flag could win a decision. Yeah, I think that's about it on the fights. The Jesmyn Dukes girl fights. That should be a cool, interesting fight. Oh, I like Chris Beal fights on the first fight. He was on the Ultimate Fighter. He fought over in this local card called Bama. He was like the face of Bama. It's about an hour from me. I went to a couple of Bama cards. Chris Beal fights. I think it's first fight since the Ultimate Fighter. I like Chris Beal. But cards a nice card, stat card. I wish Bobby Green didn't get hurt, like I said, because that Jim Miller Bobby Green fight would have been nice. I want to see Jim Miller get this win though and get back on the horse. I think the 155 is stacking up again, getting nice. But yeah, that's it. All right, that's my UFC 172 predictions and analysis. Peace, love, cheers, out.